Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Tish, for inviting us back to share information today regarding the representative payee process. So today we will discuss what it is to be a representative payee, the roles, the responsibilities, as well as different resources available. And we'll also touch on a bit about individuals that have a payee and maybe some questions that they may have. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Hoping you can all see it. Let me move it over here. So the material in this presentation has been prepared by the Social Security Administration's Public Affairs Office and is intended for educational purposes only. Participation in this presentation does not constitute an endorsement by the Social Security Administration or its employees of the organizations and information and products not provided by SSA. So right here on the screen, you'll see there is a link that'll take you to our website that'll dive right into all things representative payee. So we'll go ahead and start here with the representative payee. What is it? The representative payee program with Social Security, it appoints a relative or maybe a friend or other interested party to serve as a representative payee for an individual collecting benefits to assist them with managing their benefits. So typically it's for any beneficiary who cannot manage or direct the management of their benefits, basically have trouble handling their benefits independently. There can be many reasons why Social Security decides that someone needs a payee. However, it's usually because we have information that indicated they may need help in managing their money or meeting their current needs. More than 8 million people who get Social Security or SSI benefits do need help managing their money. We thoroughly investigate those who apply to be representative payees in order to protect the interests of the beneficiary. So there is an interview process, and there also may be documentation that is needed. If you're selected to be a representative payee, you must know what the beneficiary's needs are, so that you can decide the best use of their benefits for their care and their well-being. It's even more important to be aware of this information if the beneficiary doesn't live with you. Another important aspect is that as a payee, you are required to inform Social Security about any changes that might affect the beneficiary's eligibility. Every year, you're also asked to complete a form to account for the benefits that you've received for the person you are a payee for. Custodial parents and spouses are now exempt from this requirement, but you must be able to provide their records if requested. We also have what's called a representative payee portal that is accessible online if you create a My SSA account. This allows an individual representative payee to conduct their own business and manage direct deposit, wage reporting, and annual reporting for their beneficiaries. So this will allow their My SSA account a duality there to be able to handle and review your own information as well as the information that belongs to the person that you are serving as a representative payee for. Generally, we look for family members or friends to serve as payees. However, when friends or family members are not able to serve as payees, we look for qualified organizations. We also offer the option to designate in advance up to 3 individuals who could serve as a payee if the need arises. So below here, this is just what that slide shows, who we typically would like to choose. Oftentimes, individuals come in stating that they have power of attorney or a joint bank account with a beneficiary, or that they're a type of representative, they're the authorized rep. However, this is not the same as being a payee. Power of attorney is a legal process where one individual grants a third party the authority to transact certain business for that individual. It doesn't lessen the rights of the individual and does not usually grant the third party the right to manage the individual's assets. It typically makes no finding about the individual's capability or competence. The Treasury Department does not recognize power of attorney for negotiating federal payments, including SSI checks or Social Security checks. Since these arrangements don't give legal authority, Social Security doesn't recognize power of attorney for someone. If an individual is incapable of managing their funds, they must be a representative payee. This is SSA funds, and must apply for and be selected by Social Security to be the payee for a beneficiary. I mentioned a moment ago about the advanced designation of a representative payee. In March, I believe 2020, Social Security implemented a new option to help protect individuals' financial future that allows them in the application process to designate in advance up to 3 individuals who they would trust, who they would like to serve as a representative payee if they needed one. This does not make them the payee, and it is voluntary to do so, and you can withdraw that information at any time. But if you'd like to participate in it, then we take those names down and that information, and we'll send you a notice each year listing your advanced designees for your review. We would only contact the advanced designees if we determine that you need a representative payee to help you manage your benefit. With this advanced designation, you'll have peace of mind knowing that someone you trust may be appointed to manage your benefits if the time comes, or if you ever become unable to manage your own benefits. So who actually needs a payee? Well, the law requires most minor children and legally incompetent adults to have payees. We presume that an adult is capable to manage their funds. If it appears this may not be true, or we gather evidence to decide if we need to appoint a representative payee or not. A lot of times the disability determining service, when they make the disability decision, may also recommend a payee if based on medical evidence they deem that an individual may need assistance handling their funds. If you're ever concerned about someone becoming incapable or having the inability to continue to manage their funds, you can please contact Social Security to discuss your concerns. It doesn't mean that you would have to be the payee, but if you notice this as far as going on with a family member or a friend, it can bring it to light and allow us to further look into it. Then we'll talk a little bit about payee duties. As a representative payee, you are basically to ensure that the individual's needs are met, their food, clothes, shelter, that those are being paid for, that they are being met. So those are their main duties. to pay for the current needs as well as the future needs of a beneficiary, and to properly save any benefits that may not be needed to meet the current needs. A payee must also keep, like I mentioned before, a record of expenses. While serving as a payee, we encourage you to go beyond just managing their benefits and be actively involved in the beneficiary's life. This allows you to be more knowledgeable on their needs. Here are a list of the various payee duties continued to determine the beneficiary's needs and use of their payment to meet those needs, save any money that might be left over, report any changes or events which could affect the beneficiary's eligibility for payment or their payment amount. Ensure that you keep records of all payments received and how you spent and or saved them. You need to be able to provide these type of records upon request by Social Security. You need to report any changes to SSA that would affect your performance or continuing to serve as a representative payee. If required, you must complete the annual accounting form. You must also return any SSA payments to Social Security if the beneficiary is no longer entitled, or return any saved benefits when you are no longer the representative payee for that beneficiary. On this slide, we talk about the proper use of funds. And, we did touch on it just a second ago. Their current needs are really one of the most important things is food, shelter, clothing. Also to think about their reasonably foreseeable needs. If there's ability to conserve any of the funds or invest any of the funds. This stuff also includes utilities, dental, medical care, personal comfort items, where the beneficiary has unmet current maintenance needs. Saving benefits does not serve a purpose. So you do need to balance, the way the benefits are being spent. You must use the benefits in the best interest of the beneficiary according to your best judgment. Because in essence, the money is issued to the payee for the beneficiary to be used for the needs of the beneficiary. So the check will come in the name of the payee. Here on this slide is a list of things that payees should not do. They should not sign legal documents other than Social Security documents for a beneficiary. They shouldn't have legal authority over earned income, pensions, or any other income from sources other than Social Security or SSI benefits. So any other income that the beneficiary is earning, the representative payee doesn't have a say over those. Payees should not use a beneficiary's money for the payee or yourself personal expense or spend funds in a way that would leave the beneficiary without necessary items or services, housing, food, medical care. You should never put a beneficiary's benefit amount in someone else's account. If you are a payee for a child, their dedicated account funds are for basic living expenses. Okay, they should not be used for basic living expenses. A dedicated account has other criteria that is outlined for its usage. The monthly check is for daily expenses. You should not keep conserved funds if you are no longer the payee. The money should be returned. And you shouldn't charge the beneficiary for services unless you're authorized by SSA to do so. Now, how does one apply to be a representative payee? Well, in order to become a representative payee, you do have an interview process. So you do have to call Social Security or visit your local office in order to have an appointment, in order to have that interview. In the interview, we will ask you basic information about yourself as well as the beneficiary. We'll also ask you about your relationship with the beneficiary and how you would be able to be the best individual for knowing what the beneficiary needs. Now, if you're already serving as a representative payee for a beneficiary or multiple beneficiaries, you can utilize our online tool of the Representative Payee portal. I do have the link here in that corner there. That'll take you right to this page on our website. This again allows you to manage information for beneficiaries that you serve as a payee for. And I also have a short video here that I hope that we can watch. Give me just 1 second.
Are you an individual appointed by the Social Security Administration to receive Social Security benefits or SSI payments for someone who can't manage or direct the management of their benefits? If you are and you have a My Social Security account, then conducting business for yourself and your beneficiaries just got quicker, easier, and more secure with the Representative Payee portal. Simply sign into your account by going to www.socialsecurity.gov/myaccount and the service options screen will automatically appear. Select My Social Security to conduct business for yourself, such as estimating your future benefits, requesting a replacement Social Security card in qualifying states and the District of Columbia, getting a benefit verification letter, changing your address if you get benefits, and more. Select Representative Payee Services to conduct business for your beneficiaries, including viewing current benefit details, updating or enrolling in direct deposit, reporting wages, or completing the annual accounting. To switch between conducting business for yourself and conducting business for your beneficiaries, simply go back to the Service Options screen by selecting the Other Services button at the top of the page. That's it. It has never been easier to manage the present. Create or sign into your My Social Security account and start using the Representative Payee portal today. If you don't have a My Social Security account, it's easy to create. If you need extra assistance in creating your account, please contact the My Social Security hotline at 1-800-772-1213 and say, Help Desk. See what else you can do online at socialsecurity.gov. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
All right. So I thought that would be helpful just so you could have a visual of how your MySSA account will look a little different if you are serving as a payee for an individual. Now, going back here to our handy dandy slideshow, I also have a list of the accounting forms. So again, custodial parents and spouses do no longer have to complete a representative payee accounting form. So for those of you that are not either of those things, then you would still have to complete an accounting form for the beneficiaries you serve, whether it be one or whether it be more. You do have to do an accounting form for every beneficiary that you serve every year. This is a link to the form, the actual paper form, or you could complete the internet representative payee report as well. These are the two links for that. This is what the representative payee report looks like. It's simply one page, front and back. The first 4 pages that you would get are actually instructions. And it's only the last 2 pages that are the actual form that need to be returned to SSA. So payees, like I said, may receive an annual accounting form for the benefits received for that year. We will mail the representative payee report to payees who are required to complete the report. Payees who are under 18 must complete the paper version. Individual payees who are older, 18 or older, can complete it online by logging on through their My SSA account. So you can see here the front page asks for information about the beneficiary and then the time frame of the benefits in question. So it would probably be for a calendar year. And then it does have other questions if the payee has been convicted of a crime or a felony, if the beneficiary lives alone with the same person. Then the question number 3 goes into the actual funds. And then you turn the form over and there's just one more question there, as well as an area for remarks, anything that you want to add, any explanation that needs to be done. Also a portion here for new address. Maybe you have a new address. Maybe the beneficiary has a new address or a new phone number. And then here you would sign at the bottom, put the date and a good phone number. Okay, so that's the form. It's not very long. It's quite straight to the point and simple. And again, you would have the option to do the paper form or complete it online. So now for beneficiaries that have a payee. Remember, if you're collecting benefits and you have a payee, you have certain responsibilities as far as informing your payee of any changes. You need to inform your payee if you get a job or if you stop working. You need to let your payee know if you move. And this could be changing your address or changing your living situation. You have to inform your payee if you get married, if you leave the United States, if you go to jail, if you go to prison, if you're admitted into a hospital, if you save any of the money, if you apply for other benefits, needs-based benefits with the welfare department or another government agency, and you need to let your payee know if you're no longer disabled. If you fail to report to your payee any of these changes, then you may become overpaid. So it's important that you let your payee know if any of these changes that could affect your benefits arise. A lot of questions that we get from beneficiaries with payees, I have listed here. These are what we would call those frequently asked questions. Because sometimes when people are approved for benefits, claimants are not always understanding why they suddenly need a representative payee. Or they don't have anyone in mind that can be their payee. Or they might even disagree with SSA's decision. So these are some of the more popular questions that we've received from beneficiaries regarding the payee. So the first one here is, what if I disagree with SSA's decision? Well, they are very much well in their right to disagree. You have the right to appeal either the decision that you need a representative payee or the person or organization SSA has chosen as your representative payee. So nothing is set in stone. You have the right to appeal it. And you have 60 days to appeal the decision by contacting SSA. The second one here is, what if I no longer need a payee? Again, you have the right to receive your own Social Security check unless SSA believes you are not capable of managing or directing the management of your money. If you have a representative payee because of a physical or mental disability, in order for you to become your own payee, you must show SSA that you are now mentally and physically able to handle your money yourself. You could provide maybe a doctor's statement that there has been a change in your condition. Also something showing that the doctor believes you're able to care for yourself, or an official copy of a court order saying that the court believes that you can take care of yourself, or any other evidence that shows your ability to handle your finances independently. If SSA believes your condition has improved to the point that you no longer need a payee, we may also reevaluate your eligibility for benefits. The third question here is, what if I feel my payee is misusing my money? Well, it's important to tell SSA right away. We will invest all allegations of misuse by gathering facts and evidence and make a decision on whether misuse of funds has occurred. You'll receive a letter from SSA telling you what we found. If we find misuse, SSA may find a new representative payee for you, or we may pay you directly. We will then take action to recover the misused money. The fourth question here is, what if my payee is not giving me enough of my money? Well, we encourage you to talk to your payee about how they spend your money. Your payee should show you how much money you get from Social Security and how much money they spend on your needs. Then you should talk with your payee about how you want to use any of their remaining money, if any. If it's still an issue, then you would want to contact Social Security so we can help intervene. This next slide is a list of helpful publications for individuals that are serving as representative payees. A guide for organizational representative payees and a guide for representative payees as individuals. This next slide is a list of all of the social media platforms that we're on. This is the best way to get information regarding Social Security updates, latest news, latest initiatives that are coming from our official communications department. And our handle is @SocialSecurity. And now here, I've come towards the end of my presentation, and we'll now see if we can take a look in the Q&A.
Yeah, thanks so much, Grace. Really appreciate you being here today. These details that you're providing just are invaluable, right, in helping us understand the roles, responsibilities of the representative payee. And then our participants today are really kind of gaining a good, solid knowledge of the pay program, some peace of mind knowing that Social Security has their best interests in mind when they assign a representative payee. And then there at the end, those steps to take if they have any questions. So thanks again for joining us. Now, there are a few questions. And the first one I have is, I know an individual whose payee is trying to kick them out, but still be their payee. Is that possible?
There's definitely, sounds like we need to get some more information, but yes, if they were once living together, when that person was elected to be the representative payee for the beneficiary, and now they are kicking them out, which is not assisting with providing shelter, number one. So we definitely would want to know more about this so that we could develop for the capability of the beneficiary. Maybe they can serve themselves, or maybe this payee is no longer a good fit for that individual if they still do need a payee. So we definitely would want to hear from the beneficiary so that we could start investigating the situation.
Yeah, always need to find out the details of those situations. All right, another question. Did I hear correctly that the parent who is a rep payee no longer has to complete the rep payee report?
That's correct. They no longer have to do it every year for their children that they're serving as payees for. However, if it should arise that SSA requests that information, then they would be required to complete it. But as far as getting the forms annually every year, as they did in the past, they no longer have to do that.
Okay. And I think you've answered this one, but what if you know of a client that their payee is taking advantage of the situation and they want to remove them as their payee? What is this process?
Yeah, that this process is one where they would want, either you as, if you're assisting them, or the beneficiary would want to contact Social Security. You want to contact Social Security so you can let us know that the payee is no longer serving you and assisting you with your needs, is no longer a fit for you. You would then either apply to try to be your own payee, or they could appoint a new individual to be their payee.
Excellent. And then I'm going to go ahead and place a resource in the chat for the Disability Rights California. They have an Office of Payee Review and Beneficiary Assistance that can also provide some guidance and training about being a representative payee or how to become your own representative payee, and help you gather the information you may need to work with Social Security to make that request. Okay. Thank you so much, Grace. Thanks so much for being here and taking the time to join us.